And welcome in to the 3 and Out podcast. Dustin Pierce, David McReynolds, and Gary Gray. Excited to bring you all things high school football here in West Texas, namely District 2-6A. Talk a little bit of Midland Christian, Greenwood, and Trinity. And, of course, always want to keep you updated on what's going on at UTPB. Just a quick note, as we start District 2-6A, we want to remind you of the app that we have. Go to Midland ISD Athletics. Make sure athletics is in there. Download that app, and you can listen to Lee or Midland High district football for the remainder of the season and into the playoffs. Basically, you can click on Lee, click on Midland High. There's a 3-bar drop-down top left corner. You'll go to Broadcast, and under Broadcast, you'll see the game at hand. Click on the headphones link, and you can listen to all the games from the comfort of your own phone.
Wherever you are.
It's brilliant and beautiful. So, David and Gary, let's start with you two. Tell us a little bit about Midland High coming off the bye week, ready to start district play in a tough one tonight.
Yeah, Tascosa. I'll jump in first, Gary, and then I'll let you take over with some other topics with Midland High. I got to talk to Coach this week. Of course, they had their bye week, so they needed that to kind of recover from that long trip to Harlingen last week. Harlingen was just kind of a beat down for them. The 11-hour bus ride, the humidity, it was a 105-degree heat index on that, and even higher on the field. That was the weather, what it was. So on that turf, and Coach admitted when I met with him this week that was a factor in his players just really second half effectively not playing much at all in the game. So
it's a different kind of heat.
Yeah, just a different thing. Those guys down there are used to that a bit.
Right.
Our guys just really weren't used to it. Plus, they just didn't execute very well. So this week, the coach is really trying to get his players back into the game, get their heads in the game. We had an injury to Peralta, our quarterback, had an ankle injury in Harlingen, but he's okay. He's practicing this week, so we look forward to having him back, and he seems to be healthy. Garcia, our running backs, had a couple of games now, but he hasn't hit 200 yards after those 2 games of over 200 yards rushing early in the season. Coach is hoping to get him back up into that category again this week. So lots of things there in Midland High is working on. Tascosa, as you mentioned, they're going to be tough. Gary, you may know a little bit about them, but I will tell you they got some size. They're going to be a physical team.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, they've got a guy that took King Doru's place. Some of you may remember him from Tascosa, who's playing for Purdue now.
Yes.
They've got a guy taking his place, Major Everhart, who is stepping in.
The names over there. That's the all-name team.
King and Major.
Golly, I love
Major Everhart's a sophomore running back, and I think, he's their second leading rusher because the key to that offense, that complicated flex bone, is the quarterback, the coach's son.
Right.
And Plunk.
That's another great name.
Well, and Plunk runs that offense well. That's his dad's baby, and he's grown up under that tutelage, so he's good, man.
He's a returning starter.
And that's a team, Gary, right, that they went 5 rounds deep last year.
Yeah.
They went to I've been in Longview, new grandbaby. I'm driving back to Dallas to catch the flight because our game's tonight. But the talk of the town in Longview, they're the defending state champs.
Right.
But Tascosa took them to a 3-point margin.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was 45-42 or something like that in the state semifinals.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a Longview team that's got the longest undefeated streak in the state.
Yep.
A 5-star recruit in Haynes King, who's committed to A&M.
Wow.
And so Tascosa, they ended the year on an extremely high note. They got 5 extra games to work with. And so they're a dangerous football team. And it's, as you know, Dustin and David, it's a hard game to call because they disguise the ball so well.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And you may think 5 has the ball, and all of a sudden it pops out and 7 has the ball. So it's a hard game to call from the booth.
It is. I remember a number of times where, it wasn't that guy. It's the other guy with the ball.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it challenges you as a play-by-play guy for sure.
Yeah, notably one of their slot backs that's going to be carrying the ball, 6'2", 195. Darius Sanders. We'll be calling his name tonight.
Yeah, so remember our game, pregame's at 6:30, ball game's at 7. That's tonight, Thursday night.
Wow.
And so
okay.
Nobody will have anything else to do. They can turn the Astros game on, turn the volume down, listen to us.
Listen to you. There you go, man. Multitask. Well, Lee coming off the bye week, setting up their district opener against Friendship. And I'll talk more about District 26A in our 3 and out portion. But honestly, I've referenced this before, in some of our conversations with the kids, with the players, they seem to think Friendship's going to be one of their tougher battles this year. And so let's talk a little bit about that. First, though, Lehigh had an accident a couple of weeks back with a student who got hit by a car during the lunch break. So one thing that I think is really cool is they're going to start taking some donations during some of their home games during district season to help the family. So we'll be talking more about that on the 3 and Out podcast. But I had a good conversation with the principal, Mr. Van Hooser, yesterday about that and some of the things they're going to do to try to help that family. So it's always cool when you see the school come together as a family. As far as football, really the big challenge for Lee is going to be number 7, Donovan Smith. His dad is the running back coach at Texas Tech. He comes from Bishop Gorman, which is a powerhouse out there in Las Vegas, where he was the backup quarterback to a Penn State commit, but also a receiver. He's 6'4", 192. So Coach said he looks like he's Loic size, like height without the build. He's thrown for, and let me get it here. He's thrown for 1,500 yards in 5 games.
Good grief.
His key receiver is the athletic director at Texas Tech's son, Drew Holcutt. He's has 546 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. So Coach said that duo is downright dangerous, and he is concerned about that. And here's the hard thing: when you hear about a guy transferred in from Bishop Gorman, his dad's a coach at Tech. Sometimes it can become urban legend or myth, like he's 7 foot tall and he can throw a ball 500 yards.
It's Goliath.
All right. But I talked to Coach, and Coach was like, this kid's good. He said he is really, really good, and he's going to be tough. He said they are a throw first, run second team, and that is who they are, and that's what they're going to do.
So they kind of look like Texas Tech a bit.
Right. And then defensively, he said that's where they're probably a weaker team. This head coach is more of an offensive mind. He said they're going to give you so many different looks. They don't stick with one formation. The way he said it, they don't really have any base package to hang their hat on. He said you just never really know what you're going to get with them. And although Coach Hartman says they're better than they've been in the past, Friendship has yet to play a 6A team this year. Lee will be the first 6A team they've played. They've played a 4A team and 5A teams. Their only loss to Lubbock Cooper in 3 overtimes. And Lubbock Cooper is a top-ranked, top-5 5A team. But Friendship is yet to play a 6A team, and Coach Hartman got pretty confident. He said, he thinks they're gonna be able to put it on them. They're definitely Friendship's high-powered offense has not seen a defense like Lee's, but their defense is definitely the weaker part of their team. As far as Lee goes, though, they're healthy, which is great coming out of a bye week. Their center, Eric Cisneros, has to sit out the first half. He got kicked out of the San Benito game for an unfortunate issue that probably wasn't quite what the refs thought it was, but he's going to come in the first half or after the first half. Seth Heller will start at center. But really, they're excited. That's really the only change. They're excited that it's senior night. And Coach said, man, this is an elite group of guys. When they were freshmen, we started with 108. We're down to 40. So he said the fact that he had a quote. He says, quitting and not quitting is a habit. And these 40 that have stuck out are amazing. We're really excited about what they're going to do and what they've done this year. And so, anyways, the only other potential change you could see is maybe some change in the secondary. I'm not going to give that away yet. There could be some potential changes there. And Mikey Serrano is going to wear number 37 in honor of Jacob Power. So that's what you have at Lee taking on Friendship. That'll be tomorrow night right here at Grande Stadium. Kickoff's at 7:30. Luke and I will go on the air at 7. And we're really excited to start district play. As I've told some people, I believe this is the best Lee team I've seen since I've lived here. It's been a decade.
Oh, that's good. That's exciting.
It's going to be exciting. All right, let's talk a little bit about the other local teams. Number 4, Greenwood, number 4 in the state in 4A Division 1. They just put a beat down on La Mesa at their homecoming game last week, 74-14, I think it was. Never really a game. The opening kickoff, Brody Ray ran it back 86 yards, and then they just never looked back. Weston Wilbur, the quarterback. How's this for efficiency? 8 of 9 for 203.
Wow.
And 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. 5 touchdowns in 8 passes.
Oh, my gosh.
Pretty impressive. So, great night for him. Trey Cross, another productive night, almost 200 yards, averaging almost 20 yards per carry with a TD.
Insane, yeah.
That was
So they travel to Pecos. They're undefeated. Look for them to win that game and just keep rolling over there. So congrats to the Rangers, and hopefully they can keep that up. Midland Christian had a tough one. Coach Greg McClendon said he was proud of the way they fought. They battled. They lost 17-14 to an undefeated San Antonio Cornerstone team down in San Antonio. Interestingly, though, Midland Christian had more first downs and total yardage in the loss. They're now 3-3. They're going to host Addison Trinity Christian in their division opener, and that's tomorrow night in Midland. And then number 3, Trinity. Now, keep in mind, when we say number 3, that's in an independent 6-man ranking. They were off last week. They're 4-1, and they traveled down to play Balmorhea. Balmorhea is number 1 in UIL 6-man football. They've scored 80 points or more twice already. They've been to the state finals game, I think 2 out of the last 3 or 4 years. So that's going to be a tough challenge for Trinity as they go down to play Balmorhea. So hopefully those teams will do well and make us proud. We'll have more for you in the update next week.
That's great. Let's move over to college football. Talk just a little bit about UTPB. UTPB coming off of a 47-28 loss at Western New Mexico. And really, I didn't have a chance to talk to head coach Justin Kerrigan this week. Look forward to our future conversations. Want to ask him a little more about the quarterback position. Multiple guys playing there, multiple guys rotating in, so it looks like they're not solidified fully there. This game was close, 47-28, makes you think beat down, but honestly, it was close up until the end of the fourth, and New Mexico separated themselves, Western New Mexico. So they're all positioned for a homecoming game against West Texas A&M this Saturday at 6 at Ratliff. So you have the homecoming festivities, all of that good stuff. Looking to get in the win column in the Lone Star Conference play, 2-3 overall. They're 0-3 in conference, and they've got a really tough conference. I mean, we've talked about it. They've got a team that's a national title contender in their conference. They've got another team that's ranked 16th in the nation, and then West Texas A&M is always a perennial power in Division II football. Next week they'll go to Chadron State up in Chadron, Nebraska, a non-conference game, and then they'll wrap up with 4 conference games to end the season, 2 of which are in Odessa. So we'll give you more UTPB updates next week.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. It's good to see that program. Is that a 3 years now or 4 years that we've had UTPB?
4 years.
So this is the first year they've got a senior class that's been all the way through with some of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go to our 3 and out. We've got 3 topics, 3
Yes.
hot topics. Are you going to start?
Yeah,
us,
let me
Dustin?
start us off. So I want to start 3 and out this way as we are on the eve of the District 2 6A season. I want to give you my District 2 6A projections. Okay? So here are my District 2 6A projections, and hold me to this. Let's see where we go. Okay. I'm going to start backwards. I'm going to start at number 6. I believe the 6th place team this year is going to be the Odessa High Broncos. And again, no offense to Odessa High, I just think they are going to be the weakest team in the district. I believe number 5 will be Midland High. And a lot of that, as you guys have alluded to, just some of the rebuilding. If you look at Midland High, though, their freshman teams are undefeated.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of promise coming up in the Bulldogs camp. I believe your 4th place team is going to be Permian. That's my pick at this point in the game. I think Permian's down, but they're not out. They're definitely not the Panthers of the last 3 years. But I believe Permian will finish fourth. My pick for number 3 is Friendship. I think Friendship's going to finish third place. I think their only losses on the year are Tascosa and Lee. I think Tascosa finishes number 2. I think the Rebels only lose to your district champions, the Lee Rebels. I think the Lee Rebels get an outright district title, finish the season undefeated, and my guess is they go 3 rounds deep in the playoffs.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
How many rounds?
I think it's a 3-round, potentially 4th round based on draws. Okay. You know,
normally, Dustin, I would love to argue with you, but I think that's a solid ranking.
That's what I'm thinking this year. Again, a lot will be unveiled. We'll say it that way. Tonight, it'll be really interesting to see. Or not tonight. Well, tonight I want to see how Tascosa plays Midland High.
Yeah.
But then a lot will be unveiled tomorrow when Lee takes on Friendship. The way it seems that it's going to shape out is what I just indicated, but Friendship may be better. And honestly, Permian may be a little bit better than I'm giving them credit. If you look at the District 2 6A schedule, Permian by far wins the battle of strength of schedule. Like no one else has come close to Permian's strength of schedule. So Permian may be a better team than I'm giving them credit for, but I still think they're the 4th best team in our district at this point in the season.
Yeah,
So
you're right. I think that Tascosa game tonight will kind of give us a measure of Tascosa a bit and see where they may stack up as they approach their Permian game later on this season.
We shall see.
Yeah.
So, Gary, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I was going to talk about this college pay for play. You know, the California governor, whack job, Gavin Newsom.
Tell us how you feel.
And I hope he's listening. Surely he listens to our podcast.
I mean, rumor has it, you know.
We'll tweet it to him today.
Yeah, great. He signs this bill, California. It's not effective till 2023, but it basically allows college athletes of any sport to be paid for using a likeness or an image. And so, I'm not sure, and I hate riding the fence, but I'm not really sure where I stand on this. College athletes can now hire a sports agent. You know, you could argue for it by saying that these schools are making millions of dollars off of TV contracts and naming rights, and coaches are now making millions of dollars. Schools are selling team gear with the image or the likeness or the number of a player. You could argue against it, saying, sort of the notion of college athletes as amateurs basically is ruined, and they do get their education paid for. A lot of kids go to school and work at the same time and succeed in that regard. So I'm not really sure. I think there's a lot of problems that it causes, though. Is the NCAA going to be able to prohibit an athlete from who sells shirts or hires an agent from participating in a national championship game, perhaps? Yeah. So unfortunately, 10 more states have filed bills. I think Florida has filed a bill that would go into effect next year. So I think the challenge is the NCAA needs to get a jump on this,
right,
and get prepared. Because especially with the transfer portal going on now, what's to keep, and I haven't seen anything defined or rules written. A kid at USC is playing quarterback, and then all of a sudden some big booster at Ohio State or somewhere says, hey, we'll pay you more.
Yeah, it becomes a free agency field in the NCAA game then.
It really does. And I think maybe some compensation is warranted, but I just think it's a bit of a sad state that we've come to this point.
Well, it's kind of sad that there's not a feel that there is compensation in the result of the education that some of these kids are getting. I mean, if you're going to any of these big schools, a Penn State, Ohio State, that's a resume builder.
Right.
It opens a lot of doors for a lot of these kids down the road if they get that education, and it's often worth $200,000-$300,000
right
over the 4 or 5
Easily.
years. Yeah, over 4. You could tell us about that, Gary. How many kids have you put through Texas A&M?
Yeah, 3. So yeah, it is not cheap.
Yeah, so it will be interesting. I think that is a problem. It needs to be either across the board, across the country, everybody's in the same game, or else you do start this bidding war between states that allow it and states that don't.
Yeah, so more to come on that.
All right. Yeah, I don't know that I have an opinion yet. I really need to. That's something I need to form some thoughts on a little bit. I really haven't thought about it too much.
Yeah.
So, Heisman.
Hey, Heisman, not a lot of change this week other than Ellinger's back solidly in the 6th seat, but that's the only news. I tell you, Tua and Hurts just they own the Heisman at this point.
Keep battling, huh?
Yeah, Burrows is kind of a distant third, and there's nobody really talking about him seriously in the Heisman at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So unless something drastic happens in the game, in a game down the road, those two guys, it is kind of a toss-up between those two guys in most people's minds.
Right.
So we'll see.
Sam Ellinger wears the superhero cape on Saturday.
Well, I was just about to say,
Jalen Hurts.
I was just about to say, Gary, there's some separation that could occur one way or the other. I mean, Jalen could really show, like, okay, yeah, you are the guy, or Sam could show, hey, don't count me out quite yet. So,
as Lee Corso says on College Game Day, not so fast.
Exactly.
Tua will be rooting for Texas this week.
I have a feeling. Well, that's going to do it for the 3 and Out podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, check out Gary David tonight as they call Midland High versus Tascosa from Dick Bivens Stadium. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.